University, Andrew began his career in finance, focusing on private equity in 2009 to 2011. In early 2011, Andrew directed his focus to becoming the asset manager versus salesman. Starting in 2011, Andrew and Keith Robinson joined forces, buying assets that were below the highest and best and repositioning them for disposition within Thomas Strafford Investments. With a desire to grow into larger assets, Andrew began putting his energy towards zoning and city planning to create the best opportunities for the company and its investors to build value. Andrew currently has multiple apartment units completed and occupied, over 80 units in permitting, and 2 active construction projects. Andrew is an active member of the local real estate community and hosts multiple events each month showcasing his projects and other investors' projects around town. He was recently awarded the San Diego Real Producers Investor of the Year for 2022. That all sounds great, right? But the question is, how'd you fuck up, Andrew?
Well, first of all, I gave you a bio from an offering memorandum, so it was really dry. So I'm sorry about that. That's me. I'm Andrew. I've made a lot of mistakes, so I had to narrow it down to just one, which was difficult. So I started the business. I was in finance. Then I decided I wanted to get out of that because the world was on fire. And I went back and I started bartending again so I could get into investing. This is me thinking I knew everything in dry storage in between my shift, buying a house on the phone, and people were taking pictures of me because I'd climb up that ladder so people couldn't bug me. So they would take photos of me. And that guy thinks he knows more than this guy, and he's wrong. But I know more, but I'm totally understand I'm an idiot now. Back then I thought I was smart. Now I know I'm an idiot, but I'm likely smarter, hopefully. So I started in the business, and what we did when we first started was flipped houses. So this was the first house I bought. I was actually on the phone buying that. In that picture, I am buying this house, so that's what it looked like, and then we flipped it. That gets you, this house now can be bought for $655,000 in LA if you'd like to get a great deal on a really shitty house. So this was the first deal. This is how I got my feet wet. And then I moved my way up and slowly started thinking I was really fucking cool. Because I started building custom homes in Encinitas, building really big projects, doing stuff where we're making really good money on deals. And I was like, you know what? I don't need all the help that I used to have. I'm going to start doing it all myself because no one's better than me because I'm the shit. So I got myself set up as a general contractor. Through an RMO license, I would take you so deep in the weeds, I'm not going to do what I usually do. I'm just going to say I was kind of like the GC, but where I wasn't actually the GC, but I was the one responsible. And I started doing the construction, and this was one of the houses that we were demoing the interior of. When I pulled up to the site, they demoed the whole house. So you can't tell, this is, that is the front door. There's no house left. There's literally no house. I was fucked. So I took it, I couldn't even yell at anyone. It was me, like I did it. And I sent this picture to my business partner and I just sat in my car. And he called me like 20 minutes later, he's like, what the fuck is that? I was like, that's our house. He's like, have you talked to them? I was like, no, I haven't. And I was like, and I guarantee you, if you see the guy standing on the roof, my workers' comp would have murdered me for that guy being up there, but I was still so stuck. So they literally demoed the whole house. So I started running a lot and did my first marathon to cope with the stress. I just thought, this is literally what I did right after as I started training to run. And I thought it was a perfect time. So I started training for a run, started working on things, and then went in and started learning city zoning. I don't have ChatGPT back then, so I had to read it. So went through the process, actually learned way more about permitting. Took it from a completely different perspective, changed everything I was doing on how I approached deals. This is the house as we were going through it. You could see that it was now reframed. There's actually a house there. We ended up making it a bigger home because we were trying to recapture our money with our square footage. Whole different story. And then we ended up finishing the home. So this was the end product. This is what we ended up building in the end. What I can tell you about this that is the most important thing is the one thing I didn't do was stop. You can't stop. You fail when you stop. You keep going, you keep fighting, you still win. You can keep winning. As long as you're the only one that keeps going, you will always keep winning. I will tell you, people will say, like, you'll hear me say, I'm the one that's still winning. I literally compete with everybody constantly on everything, like, all the time. And people are like, oh, that's not good, that's not good. You gotta be happy with yourself, like, you're enough. I'm like, no, I'm fucking not, I'm better. So this was big for me in pushing, getting through this. We've now done this, we've built multiple homes now, we've built multiple apartments. I lost my ass on this. I lost on this deal 2 years prior to that. The amount of money I lost on this deal, I didn't even make in that year. But main thing is now I'm building beautiful custom homes in Mission Hills. I have multiple apartment complexes around town. We're building more apartment complexes. I have one of the larger teams in San Diego for sales, and we're gonna be the best and biggest team, and I'm gonna be the best and biggest builder, because one thing I'm not gonna do is lean only on me, because that was stupid. I'm gonna build out teams to help everybody else, and I'm gonna keep fucking up because I'm gonna keep doing bigger shit. So, anybody have any questions? I think when it was done, $270,000. It's a lot. That sucked. It's a lot when you have a lot, too.
Is that bat used in demo?
This bat is, we also have a property management company. No. So, this bat was how I got my first speaking gig. Not this bat. This is like the 10th bat I've had. The first time I got a speaking gig, I walked into a big conference. There was a guy hosting an event that was sitting at a table. I slammed a bat down on the table, said, if you let me speak at Lab Coat Agents Live, I'll bring the wood. And that's how I got my first speaking gig. So I carry a bat everywhere I speak, and any time I feel uncomfortable. So, cool.
What was the biggest difference from building single-family homes to multifamily?
The biggest difference was that they were just as hard, and I thought it was going to be harder. It's actually easier. Well, one thing, a rental versus a home is very different on how you design spaces. You know, and we do workforce housing. That's our specialty. Well, we do like workforce housing and like luxury homes, which is really stupid. That's another fuck up for another day. So the scale of this project in comparison to like a 10-unit apartment complex, they're exactly the same. It's just more money. So, and the nice thing with apartment complexes is we're able to hold them with the way we structure them, so we don't sell them.
Do you plan them for a certain hold period, or do you just...
Minimum of 10 years. Most of them are usually tied into a federal tax deal called a qualified opportunity zone. So we always have minimum of 10-year holds on almost every project. We do have some other projects that aren't on that, and I treat buildings as chess pieces to buy bigger buildings and keep going on. So everything's always for sale. You just got to give me the price I want. Sweet. So my team is interesting. I have a ton of contractors and 2 employees.
So that's who work for you. Who do you want? Like, do you have mentors?
Do I have mentors? I have a plethora of books. I am unteachable and uncoachable. I'm also unhireable and unfireable. So,
I'm unhireable too.
yeah, I'm very unhireable. I read a lot, and I'm really into that. And then I'm a big. I really don't have. I have one mentor that's just like a super rich guy in Del Mar that's like always been there. Like, I've had to hit him up like 4 times for like really hard questions, and it's like 10-minute conversations, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, that was so smart, and I just walk away from it. So.
You say your team. It's not really equals or mentors. It's
Like,
people that help do the work for
yeah,
you.
mhm.
Okay.
yeah.
Have you tried Blinkist?
I've heard of it.
Where it summarizes the book in like 15 to 20 minutes for you?
So I run a lot, and I listen at 2.2 or 2.5x. So it's,
Blinkist gets rid of all the redundancy. I
Ah.
really like it because I don't like when people say things multiple
yeah,
times, so it gets rid of the redundancy. It's a nice app.
yeah, I'll check that out.
Did you ever have imposter syndrome, like after the time where you fucked up and you were like, oh my god, I might not know everything?
I have imposter syndrome all the time. Like, I get asked to do some like events sometimes and speak at things, and I literally am like, you guys realize I'm just like a surfer that somehow made it. Like, I just like, I have it all the time. I'm fine with it.
So what do you do in that moment where you're like, oh, I'm standing
When I have imposter syndrome,
Okay, so you get asked, but then you act still. You're not like frozen.
oh yeah.
Yeah, so
What do I do for that? Have you heard of the 5-second rule? That's how I apply it all the time. All the time with everything. So if I'm like, oh, this isn't going to work, immediately the moment you can start fixing something is the moment you start working on it. And I don't let that moment go for days, weeks, months, because I only have so much energy in my system to get things done. And procrastination, if that's burning 10, 20% of my energy, and I can only use 80 or 90% of my energy, that's a waste. So I just go and solve and figure it out. I was explaining it to David the other day. We were talking, and we get people, they ask us a lot, like, how do I do this? How do I do this? I was like, just do it. And they're like, I don't get what you mean. I'm like, just do it. Like, just like, I bought my first flip because I was like, you know what? I want to get into this. It's going to be great. I mentored with some guys for a few months, and then I was like, I'm just going to go buy one. I'll figure it out. And I got a guy that wanted to sell me a house, and I signed a contract, and I was like, all right, I need $150,000, and I have 10. So I just started calling people that had money, set an appointment with a bunch of them, got one guy to say yes. He's the other half of my company now, so we've been working together for 12 years. He is the Strafford and Thomas Strafford. So I don't know how to say other than, like, if you want to do it, just go do it. And I know that's not helpful at all, except for maybe now just go do it.
With the example of the event thing, so you get asked to do the event, and you're like, I'm not worthy of this or whatever. Then what happens?
So as much as I feel imposter syndrome, I would love to speak at the event. So now I have to figure out how to make it.
So you just figure out what you're gonna say. That's it.
Oh yeah. So
He already said he was like the best at everything, remember?
I am amazing.
Competing against himself.
It would literally be. How did you know me? I don't even like. I feel like we know each other forever.
But I'm competing against myself.
Oh yeah, definitively always competing against myself.
Right.
So, and that's where imposter syndrome comes from. But like, if somebody like starts doing better than me, I don't get mad. I just copy and do better. So, cool. Thank you.